Hello. In this video, we're going to identify the vertex domain range, whether A is positive or negative, and draw and label the axes of symmetry for the following function. We're also going to circle the X-Intercepts and the Y-Intercept. Okay, so what we have here is we have a parabola. It is opening upward, which means it has a vertex right down here. And we've actually just answered our first question. The first question that we just answered is whether A is positive or negative. And the reason that we just answered that is because I just said that this function is opening up. And if this function is opening up, that means that A is positive. So A is positive. Now, let's look at another part of the question. We want to identify the vertex. Now, remember, the vertex is simply the minimum point here. The minimum point just happens to be right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a point here, and I'm going to say that that is the vertex. So the vertex is a coordinate. The question is what is that coordinate? Well, notice that we would go left 2 and down 3. Left 2, down 3 is -2, -3. Excellent. So we just identified the vertex. Next, let's identify the domain and range. For the domain, we don't need to think about that. That's always -infinity to infinity. As for the range, the lowest on the y-axis it can go is down here at the -3. In other words, the range either begins or ends with this y-coordinate here. So the range, in this case, begins at that -3, and then it keeps going up to infinity. So it starts at -3 and continues all the way to infinity. Awesome. The next thing we want to look for is the axis of symmetry. So let's go ahead and draw the axis of symmetry. It is a vertical line going through the vertex. So I'm going to go ahead and start here, and I'm going to draw a vertical dotted line that goes through the vertex. Now the axis of symmetry, which I'm going to label as AOS, is an equation. It's very important to understand that this is an equation. So it's going to be x equals some number. And that number is always going to be the x-coordinate of the vertex, which is, in this case, -2. Fantastic. Now, the last little bit of this question is asking us to circle the x-intercepts and the y-intercept. So let's go ahead and circle the x-intercepts, and they are going to be right here and right here. Now, we're just circling these because these are not these aren't crossing at a, shall we say, a nice value. They're crossing at what are called irrational numbers. So we're not really going to actually write down the coordinates themselves. I'm going to go ahead and make this one a little bit smaller, though. So circle that there. Excellent. So that is the x-intercept. Next, let's look at the y-intercept. Let's use orange. So for the y-intercept, that happens where it crosses the y-axis, which just happens to be right there. Fantastic. Now, every time I look at this, to me, this looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. In this case, the Blue-Nosed Reindeer, I guess. Not quite red there, huh? Anyway, there you go. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, and I will see you in the next video. Have fun.